Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome back to another episode of News Dose, where I give you all of the latest gaming news. And today has been one of those Xbox kind of days where they just unload a ton of news. We did get a bunch of new Xbox Game Pass games announced today, which is always a lot of fun, but also, Xbox is talking about more acquisitions, plus we finally got a straight answer on why they haven't given a definitive answer on Bethesda exclusives. So we have a lot to cover there, and Xbox fans in specific is really going to like what they have to hear. Also, an upcoming launch PlayStation 5 exclusive has been delayed to 2021, but it's not all bad news, and I'll explain exactly why here in just a bit. Before we get into all that though, we have plenty more to cover, starting off with GhostRunner. So if you follow the channel, you may recognize GhostRunner, as we have talked about this game in the past, but sadly, this is a game that's been going a bit under the radar. That's why I do encourage you to watch all of the topics in my videos, as I do cover some of these lesser known games. And GhostRunner is already proving to be a high quality title. It's got an 83 overall score on Metacritic as of this moment. Yeah, that's actually a really good score, and it might give GhostRunner the recognition that it deserves. From what I'm hearing, it's an insanely fast-paced action 3D platformer. And to me, it almost looks like a mix of Mirror's Edge with Titanfall. I never really thought about that before, but that's a great combination. Now, I haven't gotten to try it out myself yet, but I definitely will check this game out when I can, because it looks like a lot of fun. It's only $30, and surprisingly, it has about 6 to 8 hours worth of content. So that's not a bad price at all, and it'll be out tomorrow on October 27th for the Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PC, and the Nintendo Switch. Yeah, it's even coming to the Switch. And speaking of the Nintendo Switch, the JoyCon controllers have been under some scrutiny in recent months. They are being sued because of that stick drift where it causes players to move unintentionally. It's pretty widespread, and a lot of people have been affected by this, including myself. But we do have some good news for the Joy-Cons, as they're dropping the price of individually packaged Joy-Cons. They were $50 before, but now they're dropping to $40, which is still a little high, but much more reasonable. Before, if you wanted to buy 2 individual Joy-Cons, it would cost $100, which is a little extreme. Meanwhile, you could just buy a bundled pair for $80. It never really made much sense, and the reason this is such good news is because now you will be able to customize your own Joy-Con pairing. So you can choose exactly what color Joy-Cons you want, rather than being forced to buy the combos Nintendo has put together themselves. With that said, I still would like to see the price of these controllers drop just a bit more. It still is the most expensive standard controller coming from the big three. Even the brand new PlayStation 5 controller is $10 cheaper at $70, and that thing has a lot of new technology behind it. So I would like to see the Switch drop the price just a bit more, and more importantly, I would like to see them fix the stick drift if they can. Still, this is very good news nonetheless, and allows for more choice among consumers. Now let's talk about something a little bit more controversial, and this is with the Oculus VR headsets. If you know me, I am a supporter of virtual reality, and I do own an Oculus headset myself. I think that they're probably the best publisher when it comes to supporting big AAA VR titles such as Asgard's Wrath, Stormland, and Lone Echo. The real problem that customers are running into with Oculus though is the fact that they're owned by Facebook, and Facebook is finding more ways to integrate itself into Oculus. That's unsettling for a lot of Oculus owners, as many people either just don't like Facebook or flat out doesn't trust them. Well, they did announce earlier this year that going forward it will be mandatory to have a Facebook account for Oculus headsets, which was already annoying enough, but now it's gotten worse. So apparently if you delete your Facebook account, you will also be deleting your Oculus account, which includes your games that you own along with it. Yeah, this is absolutely absurd. Again, I like Oculus, and I like the games that they make, but as somebody who's not big into Facebook, it's a little frustrating that all of this is happening. In my opinion, I think that this could even hinder some of Oculus's momentum, which is really too bad considering VR is getting to the point we're seeing more and more big games. I mean, you do have Splinter Cell and Medal of Honor coming soon, and that could be a big deal and bring in new players. However, because they're forcing their consumers into having these accounts, and they're already showing anti-consumer policies, I'm sure several will just opt out into buying a different headset altogether. There really is no shortage of VR headsets on PC, though to be locked out of the Oculus store is a bit of a problem. You can use third-party software, but that may be a hassle for some. I don't know, this whole situation just seems to continuously get worse, and I'm interested to hear what you think about these policies. If you were ever interested in virtual reality, does this affect your purchasing decision? Let me know in the comments below. Let's move on to some of the Xbox news though, and there's a lot to go over here today. They really did just unload a ton of news, so let's get started with Xbox Game Pass. They did reveal a plethora of new games, so let's check this out. You have PUBG, Scourgebringer, Five Nights at Freddy's 1 through 4, Untruly Heroes, Celeste, Deep Rock Galactic, Eastshade, Ark Survival Evolved Explorers Edition, Carto, Day of the Tentacle, Full Throttle, Grim Fandango, Knights and Bikes, and Comanche, all coming soon to Xbox Game Pass. Some of these are coming in October, while others are in November. I will have a link below for specific release dates for each game, but that's an insane amount of content, and there are some really fun games here to check out. Five Nights at Freddy's has always been really popular, so that's a big one and could be a lot of fun to play on Halloween. Then you have Celeste, which is an all-time great 2D platformer, and seriously, if you haven't played that game, do yourself a favor and check that out. I'm also hearing good things about Deep Rock Galactic and Untruly Heroes, so I might have to check those out as well, and that's really the thing about Xbox Game Pass that I love so much. I know I say this all the time, but I truly do mean it. Xbox Game Pass allows me to discover new games that I wouldn't have tried otherwise. So a lot of these games revealed today are a bit smaller, but they're also games that are going under the radar. And now I, as well as many others, can go out and check these games out for ourselves. We also have to remember that they're going to announce a lot more games for the month of November. This is not the only reveal, and I would expect a big announcement right before the launch of the Xbox Series X. I'm not going to make any specific predictions, but I would expect a big AAA Xbox Game Pass announcement sometime during November. Nonetheless, there is a lot to check out here from the games revealed today. One other major perk for Xbox Game Pass, though, that Xbox fans should really be happy about, is that it encouraged Xbox to acquire more studios. This has been very evident over the last couple years, with Xbox acquiring nearly 20 new studios, and that's absolutely insane, but that's the power of Xbox Game Pass. Well, the head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, in an interview with Game Reactor, did talk a lot about acquisitions and first-party games, and listen to what he had to say about more Xbox acquisitions. And frankly, as Game Pass continues to grow, we need to continue to feed that subscription. So with the growth that we're seeing, I expect we will constantly be in this mode of bringing more creators into the fold. So there it is, Microsoft is not finished with acquiring more studios. He actually uses the phrase, constantly be in this mode of bringing more creators into the fold. That means the more you see Xbox Game Pass grow, the more they're going to invest in Xbox Game Studios. This isn't overly surprising, but it doesn't sound like they're going to slow down at all when it comes to these acquisitions. I know some fans thought that they would slow down after buying ZeniMax Games for $7.5 billion, but that doesn't appear to be the case at all. Now, he did actually briefly talk about ZeniMax Games and whether or not they would be exclusive to Xbox or not. In the past, he certainly hinted at Bethesda games being exclusive to Xbox, but because he hasn't given a definitive answer, there is still that speculation that they may not do that. Well, today he did reveal exactly why he hasn't given a definitive answer, and it's something that we have speculated on this channel in the past, and that's because it's illegal for him to talk about that until the ZeniMax acquisition is complete. You have to remember that the acquisition will not be complete until sometime in 2021. After that, though, they may give us that definitive answer, but based off what Phil Spencer has said in the past, it does sound like they're going to be Xbox exclusives. As for more acquisitions, though, really the next question is who could they acquire? I personally think Asobo would be a great fit with their work on Flight Simulator, but Phil Spencer did mention one more very interesting detail in this interview. He noted that one thing missing from their portfolio is games that has broad appeal, E-rated content. He did mention that they have Minecraft, but they could do more here, and honestly the first game that I thought of was Banjo-Kazooie. I really have no idea why Microsoft has not made a new Banjo up to this point. Now maybe Rare doesn't want to work on it, but they could easily find a third-party developer to work on another Banjo game, or just simply remake the first two. Both Crash and Spyro has had a lot of success in doing this, so come on, let's make Banjo happen. Nonetheless, he did mention more E-rated content, and he also wants more single-player games for Xbox Game Pass. So really, any studio that fits this criteria could be in Xbox's sights right now. Let me know some of the studios you think could do well under the Xbox umbrella though. Moving on, let's talk about PlayStation, starting off with a very surprising update for the PlayStation 4. So The Last of Us Remastered got an update on the PlayStation 4, which has dramatically improved load times. No joke, this really is crazy. So The Last of Us prior to this update, the first load screen would take about 1 minute and 30 seconds, but now it's all the way down to about 14 seconds. Yeah, I don't know how they managed to do that on the PlayStation 4 with those mechanical hard drives, but they did, and that is a huge improvement. The timing of all this is very interesting as well, with the PlayStation 5 right around the corner. I'm curious as to what's happening here, but it's still really cool, and The Last of Us is a great game. So I'm glad to see some improvements for this game all these years later. With that said, I do have one last game to talk about because a big launch game for the PlayStation 5 has officially been delayed to February of 2021. Yeah, just when we thought the delays were done and over with, here's yet another one. This time we're looking at Destruction All-Stars, the $70 AAA PlayStation 5 exclusive. Now to be fair, this game has been criticized for that price tag and its microtransactions, and that's exactly why I like this delay, and let me explain. They did reveal that even though Destruction All-Stars got delayed, it will be included in PlayStation Plus for the first 2 months of its release. So essentially you can get this $70 game for no extra cost if you have PlayStation Plus, which is more than a great deal. PlayStation Plus costs $60 a year, so this one game pretty much pays off the entire subscription. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good incentive on buying into PlayStation Plus. I'm still not exactly sold on this game just yet though, but it looks like this does ensure I will at least get to try it out for myself. It does remind me a lot of Twisted Metal, and that's a pretty cool franchise, so who knows, this one might surprise me. Anyways though, that's it for this episode, but if you liked the video, don't forget to bell notification and subscribe button for more content just like this. Also, if you'd like to support the channel through Patreon, thank you for making this content possible. Peace out.